And here we are back again with the last match of the day, and it is going to be the rematch of the Season 1 Grand Finals. It is going to be Hit against CASHBACK. What are your thoughts, Moff?
My thoughts are still very much with the previous match, the roller coaster emotions. I'm glad we had a replay break because I think Kihan was in danger of wetting himself from laughter after that experience. But it just goes to show, right? Even if you have two teams that are considered to be not on form and weaker, you can still have an absolute blockbuster a match, but for all the wrong reasons. Hopefully, this one is going to be for the right reasons. Hit and Run, the top performing team so far. If they win their match cleanly today against CASHBACK, they will go back to joint top of the leaderboard with Mafia. But Mafia, because they 4-0'd it, they're going to have a pretty good points difference. But I want to talk about this CASHBACK team, because I think coming into this season, we mentioned earlier in the stream, this team was maybe considered to be on the sort of downward trend. You lost some superstars like Squeezy, you lost Barbarian, two your direct rivals in Hit and Run. And everyone was kind of wondering, okay, what's the trajectory for this CASHBACK team? Because you've still got your superstar players in there. You've got Liberty, Brainbreaker, and all that. But it seems like they've really managed to steady the ship. And I don't think they're as strong as they once were in the past, but it's still a very solid team.
That's the question. Are they as strong as they were, or has everyone else just gotten better at the game, right? Because since the Season 1, where CASHBACK was absolutely dominating the scene, I think a lot of the teams have stepped up their preparation game, etc. So I think CASHBACK are better than they probably have ever been, but the other teams have just managed to close the gap. Talking about being better than they have ever been, I mean, Little here, 4k DPG, 1.5 KD ratio, really stepping up. I mean, got the little tattoo as well, Parasparat Astra, so through pain to the stars. Yeah, and a lot of pain and preparation goes into this one, and today is one of those, I think, matches that is going to set the tone for both CASHBACK and Hit for the rest of Phase 2, because both of those teams, I think, consider themselves to be kind of safe for the playoffs at this point in time, considering that the other teams are still going to take away points from each other. But they would like to improve their position for the final standings of Phase 2 to be able to go into the playoffs with an advantage, or not. Yeah,
I don't think mathematically they're safe, and CASHBACK are 2 points back from Hit and Run currently as well, so they're a little bit less safe, but just the form of both of these teams, I feel quite confident that they're both going to make it through, because Weekend has looked very, very rocky, and W, as we saw, they also look a bit shaky. But the map pool coming into this one, Hit and Run, are going to be bringing Ensk as their first map pick. Then we're going to go on to Cliff, picked by CASHBACK, then Ghost Town, picked by CASHBACK, and Muravanka, if we get there, will be the tiebreaker. I just got like a feeling that there might be something afoot here. Obviously, it's just a prediction, it could be completely wrong, but to be honest, today, my vibe has like not been that far off. I got the 4-0. The last match we just saw could have just as easily been 4-3 as it could have been 4-0 as well. So maybe something's going on.
Well, let's see. Hit and Run are going to open up on their map pick with the double BZ75, a 140, and the quadruple E4.
Yeah, it's a lot of E4s from Hit and Run. CASHBACK bringing double BZ75, a 140, double Bliskovica, and double Foch B. So a quite passive lineup from Hit and Run. The quad E4, they don't move around. They take quite a bit of engine power to shift across the map. But CASHBACK, with double Bliska, double Foch B, and double BZ, they're just going to be torpedoing straight into their opponent.
I mean, you would expect them to, right? With those rocket boosters, the E4s by Hit and Run, meanwhile lining up to put some shots into tanks that are on the rails, but we see, of course, that there are none of those shots to be found. So Brainbreaker is going to make it into the cap, and the first shot of the game, the first damage actually going in towards Ketsai, the second one as well, retaliation on towards Brainbreaker, but Ketsai, he had to repair his tracks, so he's going to be without Amorak for a little bit of time. Of course, in Onslaught, the cooldown time for the rep kits is a little bit shorter than it usually would be, and I'm pretty sure he's running a big one as well, reducing it even further. But for now, Ketsai also starting to take some shots below the rails by by those Bliskavitsas, and finally he was able to take back his Amarak, but he is still taking damage. Twilight as well with a good shot. Cat's-Eye down towards 900. A strike is going to go down onto towards both of those Bliskavitsas.
Yeah, they didn't activate ability, which I was a little bit surprised about, but I guess they want to save it for a later engagement. But hit and run, they're just kind of committing in here, despite the fact that CASHBACK have got the double Blisker. There's going to be a strike coming down. Is that going to hit all three guys from hit and run? Yes, it is. Aka will be falling, but in the meantime, Ketsai has finally gone down after his little adventure down the rails, and now the repush comes in from CASHBACK. They have, I think, significantly better positions here, but the Fosh Bees, it's going to be tough for them to repush into those E4s. The Blisker's now getting punished. Twilight goes down to a one-shot.
Oh, Pan's Fury has to pay though for this cross, and Barbarian cannot really support anymore with 700 HP of his own. So hit and run, they're all in at this point, but they're pushing in towards superior odds and Crossfire. Twilight, they're going down in the Bliskavitsa. Little is down towards a two-shot actually, and Franek is hitting those shots in the 140. Little out in the open, gets picked up, so it's 6 versus 4 tanks, but still the HP advantage for CASHBACK is there. Make it 6 versus 3, hit and run with there been no magic. Once again, able to keep those one-shots in the game. Pan's Fury shielding DJ.
Yeah, I think there was an overcommitment from Little, and that really was the linchpin that has snowballed this in the opposite direction. Franek is doing a great job here of just staying alive, and that means he's able to just spam the Inspire ability for the rest of his team. And hit and run, it looks so chaotic, and that brawl did not look like it was going in their favor, but they just managed to protect everyone. They managed to keep all of their guns alive with some fantastic team play. I still think that that's a throw from CASHBACK to drop the ball there.
It was the correct call to push, but they just executed it in a way where, you know, they weren't able to pick up the one-shots, because I think for hit, it was like 2, 3, maybe even 4 tanks that were extremely low, but those tanks were still able to put out damage and shot after shot. And of course, then the HP advantage that CASHBACK had generated ended up not really mattering anymore. Also, I think that the 140 by CASHBACK died too early. He committed. Of course, you want to, at some point, commit with the 140 as well. You want to bring in your HP, but he ended up dying before the brawl was over, which is not what you want to have happen.
Heal ability, if you want to just charge straight into your opponent. And again, hit and run, opting for at least a couple of E4s. It's still just a very, very powerful tank for shutting down and holding angles, just being really annoying to your opponent. CASHBACK, they're pushing aggressively here, but they're going to stop. It looked like they wanted to go forward in towards the cap, but they decide against it. The double Fosh B is still making their way up into the city. Now the BZs are going to push down a different lane on the rails. They're not going to be known about, but the cap is underway, so they know that there's 3 guys that are just running straight through the cap. Their Brainbreaker pushed up aggressively on the rails, going to be pinning down Pansuri in his T110E4, and at the moment, hit and run, they don't have any of the strikes. They haven't taken control of the field yet. They don't have the city, and there's 17 seconds left on the cap here. They're going to be forced to peek.
They are indeed forced to peek, just like Monster is peeking on towards Brainbreaker here. That's going to be a full clip and towards the BZ-75. I don't think he is going to completely die from it, but first and foremost, cap is the issue. T-Second Cat's-Eye, do they have reset shots? Finally, a reset comes in, taking the pressure off a little bit, and now more resets are coming through. Franek is probably going to pick off Brainbreaker while Monster is on reload here, and now the BZs are starting to boost out of the cap. The HP, funnily enough, still even, as the kills are 2 tanks dropping, but 1 from each team. Pansphere and DJ now the point of contention, trying to push out on towards Mindbreaker, but he's still very healthy. DJ trying to stay alive, 410 HP. Mindbreaker down towards one shot, gets picked up by Monster, who is off reload, but DJ falls in turn.
Yeah, and now the HP, the guns in favor of hit and run. They just pick up another kill on towards Acker, and Twilight, in committing to try and take out those E4s, has found himself between a rock and a hard place as well, and it's hit and run once again taking the lead. The double Fosh B, they couldn't get involved in the game quick enough. They just managed to pick off the kill of Barbarian in the city, but now they're both on reload. Well, Liberty's going in to try and get a little bit more extra damage, and Little is a bit out of the fight here in the 140, now just closing distance, and Ketsai just bullying poor Vladislav, just pushing him against the wall, not allowing him to run away. And Little does have a lot of HP, but there's just so many guns to pick off here, and Monster is already off of reload. He's going to be protecting Pansuri in his T110E4. Ketsai has managed to get the other kill, so Little has nothing left to go here. And run, we're going to be the preferred team, the more dominant team on this map. Look at that from Monster, 6.9k in that Fosh B.
I mean, 18, 18, 18. You cannot ask more from the guy.
That's literally perfect. That's just three clips are in the Fosh B, and he picks up 3 kills to boot as well. So focusing out those kills, not just hunting down the damage. I think Barbarian must have done a decent job as well of just kiting the double Fosh B, because CASHBACK, they really want those Fosh Bs to get involved in the fight to support the BZs, because as good as the BZ is, if you don't have a whole lot of them, well, it depends, like you say, because if a team looks in the opening stages, they think they have an isolation or they have an overmatch, then they're gonna go. They're gonna press the W key. But if you don't have that clear and obvious overmatch or situation that you think is favorable, you're going to try and stall it out and jostle for the different positions. Curious tanks being brought by Hit and Run though. Double 50B, not a tank that we've seen that much, if at all, in the OLS since it got its ability nerfed, and I think that combined with the fact that the BZ just has so much HP, and combined with the fact that a Type 5 can HE pen a 50B frontally through those side plates, it makes it a bit of a nightmare to deal with. They're going to couple that with double BZ, double CS, and a 140.
And for CASHBACK, we have quadruple BZ, an MVY, and a CS together with a 140. And they are going to not really split that much, to be honest, only sending the 140 towards the 1 and 2 line, where he will be met with double 50B, double CS, and Brainbreaker. I'm not sure if he wants to continue. Yeah, he thinks better of it, takes one shot by the BZs already, and is going to be isolated at the donut. Meanwhile, though, CASHBACK, they're seeing those 50Bs and the CSs. Those are ripe for the taking. Immediately, X marks the spot. Rockets active, going towards the 50Bs and the CSs. Those are very squishy. Yes, Aka takes a lot of damage, but I think Hit and Run might be too late.
Yeah, I think the focus fire is not very good here from the side of CASHBACK. They're just almost ignoring KITAYCA, but perhaps that's okay because Little can clean up the scraps. They managed to get that kill on towards T-Sec. Now DJ running away in that 50B. It's so important that he survives in order to get a second clip for the value of the 50B there. Twilight now being forced to run away. Does not manage to make it as his wreck tumbles down to the bottom of the map there, and now Monster and Panseri holding on the corner here. Frantic has pushed into a 1 versus 1 with Little in that M5Y. Little is being inspired, and I think he's got the small gun as well, so his DPM is pretty good, but he should normally be losing to the 140 over time. Liberty crossing back in his 140 of his own in towards the middle to try and generate some crossfire for the side of CASHBACK, and that's going to force Hit and Run's hand. Now Barbarian's caught in the middle of the open as well. Little is getting pushed on towards by Monster. Monster going to look to secure that kill, which he does manage to do. Hit and Run again with the gun advantage, but down in HP.
Down in HP indeed. Can they pick up Liberty? That's on a one-shot and still inspiring everyone right now. Monster falls towards the CS as Liberty falls towards the BZ75, but that was a lot of alpha wasted. Actually, DJ on a one-shot, bouncing one of the shots from, I believe, Mindbreaker was it, as Vladislav is now going to boost over to deal with the 140 of Frantic. That has been a thorn in the side of CASHBACK, as hit down towards 3,000 HP. CASHBACK still 4k. Can they deal with the 140 is the question? Yes! Is the answer. Mindbreaker to shut it down, 3 versus 2, and the crucial thing is the 50B on Hit and Run's lineup doesn't really have a lot of HP to play with anymore. He's going to be met with Brainbreaker that has more than enough HP to live through an entire clip of the 50B, but he doesn't need to. He high rolls that shot. Easy is what he is going to say. A strike is going to come down as well on towards Pan's Fury that manages to kill Mindbreaker, but through all of it, CASHBACK are going to put the first one on the board.
Yeah, and it came down to the wire there. They just managed to do it with 2 tanks left remaining.
Yeah, those 50Bs, they really start paying off after the second clip, in my opinion. And here we can see that KITAYCA, you mentioned it, only 1 clip of damage. And even DJ, he managed to get off, well, 2 and a bit. That is not enough to make the difference. Instead, Frantic, I think he played a very, very good game in that 140, but if the enemy team just keeps sending tanks and tanks and tanks at you, of course, at one point or another, you are going to wither away. So, yeah, for CASHBACK, I think it was also a little bit awkward, just like for Hit and Run, because both of the teams, they had to commit some of the BZ shots on towards low HP one-shots, and into the trenches, I guess, of shootout warfare. And CASHBACK with a better end in round 2. Hit and run, they are trying to improve upon that performance from the last round, though. Quadruple BC, so once again, a lot of awkward, high alpha guns, but then they're pairing it up this time with a Batchat and double CS.
Yeah, the Quad BZ, already stated, one of the most popular tanks of this season. CASHBACK bringing 2 of their own, plus 50B, plus double CS, plus an M60, plus a Blitzkowitzer. M60 is not the most common pick that you would see. It's almost always the Inspire tank of the 140 or a Sente X, sometimes even an STB, but M60 is not very commonly used, and that's because it's relatively paper as a tank. It's got this giant cupola as well, which makes it basically impossible to peek without getting farmed. But it does have a really nice gun, and it has a brilliant 350 heat and mobility as well. T-Sec, is he going to try and go up in the beginning of the game here? Doesn't take... Oh, he does take a fair bit of damage actually in the end. The snipes come in from the M60 and the Blitzkowitzer, hit and run, moving up through the donut. They're looking to punish anyone who wants to go up the hill. Little has not committed yet, though. He's just tucked in at the top of the ramp.
And committing, though, talking about that, CASHBACK is committing those BZ-75s towards the donut. 2 of them, or rather 1 and the CS dude, end up taking an artillery strike to the face. Vladislav is going to start peeking. He finds Monster, and he finds damage as well. Damage that goes on towards him. That is, as finally CASHBACK are going to start peeking. Another big strike here going to come in. It's going to only connect on towards 2 tanks, as Twilight has finally found the position at the stone here, but that was a lot of damage as Liberty gonna come in with that 50B ability active, pop, 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 in towards Monster here, but obviously the 50B is slower than the T57 with unloading as Brainbreaker goes down towards one-shot. Pantsfury trying to get out. Here's Emmerich though. Monster, the first one to go down, and CASHBACK find themselves with an HP disadvantage.
Yeah, they do, and now they're trying to push around the corner, trying to pick up these final kills. Brainbreaker's breaking distance to try and keep himself alive, preserve for some sort of endgame, but CASHBACK, they're peeking into this corner. Mindbreaker's even riding on top of DJ, who rocket boosts into him, and he's pushing him back. He says, you will not push into me, I push into you. And he's going to flip him as well for good measure. DJ, it almost looks comical, but it is actually the best possible play that he can make. He causes so much chaos in the back lines of Liberty, and Mindbreaker is flipped. And of course, in Onslaught, you do not have auto-flip like in random battles that has been implemented in recent times. Mindbreaker will not have anyone come to his rescue.
Oh my god, Mindbreaker, he is lying on his back and there is nothing to remedy the situation. Still, there is a full HP Batchat named Franek for the team of Hit and Run as Aka takes another shot while trying to cross over. DJ finally from the grave has managed to kill him. Franek is able to take out Twilight in the BZ, and all of a sudden it is actually on Franek with that full, or almost full HP Batchat, but he finds himself in a 1 versus 2 situation against 2 unspotted enemies, and his ally KATSAI, not very high HP, but he is able to stay and chill on the cap here. Oh, Brainbreaker gets spotted though and gets picked up. Now Aka, of course, has to try and single out the low HP, but this means that Franek can just pick up the strike, and that is going to stack the odds so much in his favor. Also, Aka now in the cap. He is... well, his positions are known. KATSAI does not miss that one. And DJ, I'm just gonna say it. You know what he was screaming when he was, you know, pushing the Bliska away? He was saying, I'm the Juggernaut.
Managed to do 5k and 3 kills as well. And again, it just looks like another one of those rounds where Hit and Run, they've got this magic. They somehow managed to pull through. With the
thing is, like, DJ, he has 4.3k damage here, but keep in mind, the Blitzkowitzer on its roof died with like 1.2, so you can add that actually to his damage normally.
Yeah, he's been robbed there, isn't he? From not having that in his post-game stats there, getting that extra damage.
He's getting the kill.
Yeah, he does get the kill, but once again, a Hit and Run just in the clutch. They managed to see off CASHBACK, and this game very well could have been going more towards CASHBACK, and they could have won that one game on Ensk. They probably could have won that last round that we just played as well. But as it is, it's Hit and Run who get to match point first.
And I mean, DJ definitely the MVP of last round. But yeah, Ghost Town, we have just seen in the previous match that it can be a map where unexpected, quick and slow results can happen. So I don't think this match is decided yet by any way of the imagination. Of course, Hit have now the possibility to end it at any point whenever they want, or whenever they manage to. But CASHBACK, I don't think, are down and out yet.
Well, if they want to, they would end it right now.
Well, yeah, if it was...
If only it was down to will.
If
it was purely down to will, then they'd be able to finish this one off. But we're going to be going into Ghost Town.
Well, it now comes kind of a little bit to haunt them. They have lost a key player to Hit as well, namely the Barbarian. He was one of their shining stars, but he's now playing for the opposing lineup, and their lineup actually is pretty easily summed up. A 140, a Type 5 that hopefully doesn't go to K1, and a quintuple BZ75.
Yeah, I don't think DJ is going to be planning a trip towards that K1 corner anytime soon. Not with that lineup. CASHBACK, they're going to be opting for a can opener, double 57 heavy, a Batchat, K91, Bliskovica, and Liberty in his ever-trusty RHM. Yeah,
Liberty, I think, is one of those players we always have to keep in mind. He is... a virtuous, an absolute prodigy in that RHM, and he is going to make his way towards the artillery strike immediately, no hesitation. He's going to be matched by Monster in the BZ, double BZ from Hit and Run. I mean, they have a lot of them to spare, are immediately going to connect or drive on towards the cap. Monster taking a shot, make that 2 of damage. So actually, Liberty is able to take the strike. Now, will he be able to drive away? No, Twilight for the time being blocking him a little bit, but Monster still unable to peek here as Barbarian comes from the top, sees Liberty. Good shot in towards that RHM, takes an HE as well, and T-Sec with another HE. Liberty, I was commending him. Down and out.
Yeah, but the double 57 trap has been sprung. T-Sec might have committed just a bit too far, but Ketsai does a fantastic job of shielding his teammate, but it's not going to matter because Vladislav comes from a third angle from behind, gets that ram kill. Now Twilight is compromised as well. DJ has got himself very much involved in the engagement, pushing forwards in that Type 5 heavy. Liberty being down and out of the fight. They would have wanted to rely on that light tank to be able to play for some sort of late game here, but now the 57 heavies, they're going to be forced to peek in. And there's so much HP here on DJ, who can just keep marching forwards while the T-57s have to cower on reload.
And indeed, that's what they are going to do as Barbarian pushing through. He knows those T-57s are on reload, is even going to heal up above the 400 threshold, so would survive a singular T-57 shot just as Aka bites the dust. Anabans still not reloaded here, and who is he going to shoot? The full HP DJ Type 5? I don't think so, as Pan's Fury falls though, double teamed by 2 tanks on the other side of the map. Anabans now trying to do what he can, bounces 2 out of 4. That is not the result he was looking for. Brainbreaker in the Batchat falling as well. Tank advantage, Hit and Run on their match point.
Yeah, this is how you play the Type 5. You just force your opponent to clip you. Anabans, he does not want to shoot the Type 5, but he has no other choice because DJ has just got him right in front of his face. And look at this, Franek has been preserved. His 140, his Inspire tank, the most important gun that you need to keep alive. Hit and Run have done this perfectly. They've got the exact right tank that they need in the endgame. Monster won't even need the help of Franek, really. He could have just 1v1 all on his own, but Franek will help him clean up along with DJ, who's still alive and kicking in that Type 5. And it just leaves Little in a very, very low chance of a 1 versus 3.
I mean, the K91, it has good DPM and it has a really good gun, but DJ able to put another shot into him. So it is 1850 against 4000 HP, and the Inspire 140 is going to be like, yeah, you got DPM, Mr. K91, well, I got one as well, and I have alpha damage to boot together with my Inspire. The strikes, they keep harassing that 140, actually. You can see the power of the K91, but you're about to see the blunt damage, the blunt trauma that a BZ75 is able to do as well.
Yeah, the power of team play coming in here. As Hit and Run will win this match 4-1. He's gonna pick up maybe the final kill, but they do manage to get him out, and Hit and Run will win it 4-1. I wouldn't say it was a dominant display, but I think this was a masterclass in winning the scrappy games, winning the contested games, the ones where you know it's up in the air as to who can possibly win, different momentum swings. We had Liberty dying in the very beginning, but then the double 57 heavy was activated and did some good clips, but ultimately Hit and Run just able to overwhelm their opponent. And I just think that DJ being immediately in the fight in his Type 5 heavy, there were so many moments where, oh, look at that, 8.9k from Little, and it's just not enough, is it, to overcome the deficit, because Liberty at the bottom of the scoreboard, so often praised as the best light tank player in Onslaught, comes up with 0 damage, unfortunately for his team.
To be honest, you can be the best player in the world. If you get countered like that, there is no way you survive. So I don't think it's Liberty's fault at all here. It was just that Hit with their opener had a strategy to exactly counter that RHM play. And, well, it worked. What are we supposed to say here? But, yeah, overall, I think you also see that the Type 5 heavy, if it's immediately in the fight, like, yeah, he ended up dying at the end, but the game was won. He was continuously in the game, and he also forces the opposing tanks to play differently, right? Because not only do you have 700 alpha damage, well, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and take that damage. On the other end, if you turn the back towards him, then, you know, that alpha damage suddenly increases by over 50%. It goes towards 1100. So essentially the tanks need to be wary of the Type 5. You don't want to expose to the AP, but you definitely don't want to expose to the HE either.
No, and let's just take a look at the Hit and Run lineup. This is just a prime example of where the meta is currently at, because you and me and Daki as well, we've been BZ75 haters for such a long time, but personally, it's like I always understood why teams like Hit and Run played it, but now I truly get it, because when you combine it with the Inspire ability and you just push as one homogeneous unit in towards your opponent, even though you don't have DPM, it doesn't matter, because you have the alpha and the mobility to just focus out. As long as you just delete one target after another, it's all going to be okay. And if you're CASHBACK in that game, the only target that you actually want to focus, the only target you want to clip in the 57s